inside America's horrific weight loss cult. Love a story about a cult. So interesting. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
To accuse me of being deceptive is a very strong language because I've been led by God to do this.
Oh, and right out the gate, to call me deceptive. God entrusted me with this message. Say skinny girls, skinny legends for life.
There's a cult in Tennessee that preaches weight loss as a path to God.
We're not going to think about food anymore.
Its founder, Gwen Shamblin, suspiciously died in a plane crash, but somehow the Remnant Fellowship Church is still alive and thriving.
You notice both Christians and Nazis raise their hands in the air? I'm just saying, I see a pattern.
So what's really going on here behind closed doors? And what will happen if I try to sneak in to convince the cult that I want to join? There's only one way to find out.
Hey man, what's going on?
Hey, welcome.
This is Michael Black, the founder's son, who's on a mission to expose his mother's crimes, from body shaming and financial control to even more severe forms of manipulation.
This is where the magic happens.
The blackness of this room is scary.
It's a type of paint that sucks in light.
So why black? What is about black that you like?
I see Gwen changing into somebody that's narcissistic, controlling. I'm getting abuse, whatever, from the leadership, and I start, feeling this person, this persona or whatever, this black. And it was...
Oh, Chad said he went on Dr. Phil with this. Oh, I don't know anything about this.
To me, it represented something who's tired of being abused by false religion. I started kind of experimenting with this persona, Michael Black. And it meant to me it's a readiness that stands in the face of false religion. I'm not gonna be fooled today by lying women or lying leaders.
Giving incel, giving misogynist, giving hurt by my mother, did not go to therapy. It's giving religious cult trauma, which I understand. I'm very empathetic to. It's giving not deconstructed though.
If that makes sense. But this is a 224.
Oh.
Fooled today by lying women or
lying women.
If that makes sense. But this is a 224. Valkyrie.
That looks like a badass weapon right there.
Yeah.
And you obviously have this for protection, but also like a hobby?
Protection. I've just over the years. And then of course I had the death threat on my life, right? From Joe. This is a 338, easily concealed.
It feels like a toy. Is that what you would carry with you in a car?
I normally would like to have a little more stopping power than that. But, it's better than nothing, right? Oh yeah. So for the road we take.
Okay, he looks exactly the way his beliefs make me believe he would look, which we all do. Okay, we fall into categories. I hope to live up one day to the way that my beliefs look. He just looks the way. And did you like his persona? Did you see the persona he created for himself? Wait, did you guys see that?
I'm not gonna be fooled today.
What? Oh, is this a TV show or something? This is how he imagines himself, right? This is what he's saying?
It to me like false religion. I started kind of experimenting with this persona, Michael Black.
So he has a persona, Michael Black, okay? Right? But then this is what he looks like. So this is what he thinks he looks like, wants to look like, and this is what he looks like. You see what I'm saying? 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 You see what I'm saying?
Be fooled.
Okay,
nothing.
Moving forward.
Put the Glock down, my Glock is my hoe, and my hoe go everywhere I go. You know that song, right?
Wow, he's a...
Glock down, my Glock is my hoe, and my hoe go everywhere I go. You know that song, right?
Yeah. It even says black on your cologne.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing.
It's kind of my... Black, it's kind of my thing. I'm sorry. I know he was severely abused, I can tell. And I get it, and I empathize with that part of it, but please, you have to let me make fun of a little bit. He looks like he watched The Matrix once, and he's like, got it, locked in, okay, please.
So the church started in 1999. I left the fall of 2021. That was after the crash.
After the plane crash? Do you think if the crash never happened, you'd still be in it?
I was on kind of a trajectory at that point.
Oh, Habibi. Wait, that was him. Oh, he was a skinny legend. Wait, pause. Let's use humility. He was probably a skinny legend in the cult. And then he probably gained weight as almost a form of rebellion as well. You know what, girl? We love a fat queen. Okay? You know what? No hate. That probably was his picture. He probably did look like that, right? Because that looks like him, doesn't it? Wait, am I wrong?
Do you think if the crash never happened, you'd still be in it?
I was on kind of a
Yeah, that's him. Oh, a moment of silence for our skinny legend. Chat says, I mean, a moment of silence for all victims of abuse in these situations. For real. I know we might make little jokes because his trauma turned him turned him into a personification of like what he thinks a hero is. You know what I mean? But like, oh.
Trajectory at that point. I was 19 when the church started. We had been in church
Damn.
all my life. Different churches. Church of Christ. I don't know if you're familiar with Way Down Workshop. That was kind of the precursor to Remnant.
And his mother looks exactly the way you would assume she would look. There's a look to people. See, that's what I mean. Oh my gosh, the Discord and I have been discussing this. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. How like, I think I look like what my personality would look like if it was a person. And she looks exactly what that bubble wants you to look like to signal that particular aesthetic. Like all of us belong to bubbles that have an aesthetic. And so that's why I ask you, like, do you know what you signal to people with your aesthetic? And do we understand why stereotypes exist in a way that isn't meant to, like, in a way that's meant to actually acknowledge and examine us as characters in a story? Like, she looks like that stereotype, right? But that doesn't mean that you can stereotype people because they look a certain way. Okay, so two things can be true at once. You can look like a stereotype and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and you should pay attention to how people signal to you with their aesthetic.
Got it.
And that was when we were young, growing up in Memphis.
It was a book, it was a class, it was a course.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it was faith-based weight loss. It was intuitive eating disguised as a religious Christ way of living.
Oh, I've been hearing a lot about intuitive eating, and I thought I understood what it was because somebody asked me on stream, like, Brittany, do you intuitively eat? And I was like, do you mean like, do I eat when I'm hungry? Yeah. And like, is that what intuitive eating is? Because like, I definitely just eat when I'm hungry. You know what I mean? Or unless I'm in a calorie deficit of some kind, and then maybe I, eat when I'm hungry, but I don't eat till I'm stuffed. Like, I don't know what that is now. But now I heard intuitive eating is like an eating disorder, and I'm confused.
The idea wasn't necessarily new. It was around in the 70s, so you had stuff like praying away temptation.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it was in basically, I would say literally every single church denomination and church in the country had weight on going.
Wow.
Just for the record, again, growing up Catholic, it is not like this. It does not feel like this. It does not look like this. This is not the vibe. These are not, when people say, oh, are you a Christian? I'm like, mm-mm. Like, look, not to defend Catholicism, but I'm sorry. We were not this weird. We were weird, but we were not this weird, which is not saying much. It's kind of like the difference between a person who loves anime and a person who like calls everyone senpai. With peace and love, I'm not that weird. Shout out to my senpai people.
And when you were like 19 when it started, you were aware, like, wow, like your mom started this, like you must have felt pretty special, like at the time.
I was full support, and I was gullible and I was naive.
Wow, honestly, kind of a cutie patootie.
20, like at the time.
I was full on.
I bet he was getting the ladies in this Christian church.
Full support, and I was gullible and I was naive.
I mean, look at that. You know what I mean? I get it. He probably felt really embraced by the bubble.
Up until 2021, did you think about leaving? Like you were?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But we were still like super isolated, so we weren't allowed to watch, a lot of outside media,
Got it.
a lot of outside music. We were in our own little bubble, and I kid you.
So people always ask me, like, why do you say bubble? Why do you say it like that? Because other people are in bubbles, right? The dilemma is you think you're not in the bubble. That's the difference between a 2 and a 4 in a big way. In an embodied way, 2s, they know people are living in bubbles. They just think it's not them. And a 4 has the realization that like, oh, we're all in bubbles. Like we are all in bubbles. Because there really is, like, I know you think you're not in one. Because you're like, oh, they're in that bubble. No. We're all in bubbles. When I realized that, I was like, oh, shit. Like, that is such a, like, it's the same feeling, like I said, as leaving, like, I left the Catholic Church, and I was like, oh, my God, the Catholic Church isn't the answer. Okay, but now do it for everything in the whole universe. Every single bubble, every single belief system, every single thing. It's like as if all of your bubbles were the Catholic Church. Except, and this is the part that's hard, they're not. Some bubbles are better informed than other bubbles, but most bubbles are misinformed. All bubbles are misinformed, but some bubbles are better informed. But there's misinformation in all of our bubbles. Chat said I'm in the Indiana bubble. Oh, she would love that. She would love that, let me tell you. Discourse said, Brittany Senpai, I'm dying of cringe writing this. Stop it right now. You just know in some universe that could have been my life. I could have gone down a weird fandom. I could have had fans who came up to me and said, Brittany Senpai to me. Girls with peace and love, I'm not trying to judge you. But you know what I mean? How are you going to be the grown up in the room and you're going around calling people senpai? Like, come on.
Not.
You know, cute when you're 15, less cute when you're 45.
The entire world is like Satan, and we are the only righteous people on earth.
You believe that this is a cult, right?
Oh yeah, for many, many reasons. There are people who literally would have done anything for Gwen. Gwen's word was like
and so that's his mom, right? He calls her Gwen, right? That's his mom.
Considered law.
I'm taking such tiny bites that I'm not gaining weight off of it, and I don't go beyond full.
She would be somebody that
I mean, they do say if you eat slowly, which my grandpa always told me, eat slowly. So your brain has time to, your stomach has time to catch up to your brain. Your brain has time to catch up to your stomach. So you actually know when you're full. Instead of eating so quickly, you don't even know you've overeaten. But what did she say?
That
Gwen's word was like considered law.
I'm taking such tiny bites that I'm not gaining weight off of it, and I don't.
So if I eat a whole chocolate cake, but I eat it slowly and in tiny bites, do I not gain weight? Is that what she's saying?
Don't go beyond full.
She would be
Oh, but
somebody
I don't go beyond full. Sure.
that you would listen to, like Moses or even Jesus. You know, there was a story of one of the guys. He was looking down while Gwen was speaking in the sanctuary, and he was reading his Bible. And David Martin, who was one of the top leaders, he told him literally this verbatim. He said, if Jesus was in the sanctuary right now, he would be paying attention to Gwen.
Wow. So that is pretty.
Honestly, though, Gwen's hair is everything.
That was what was being taught.
It's so weird that that's your mom. Like,
I know.
that's your
Oh,
biological
yeah.
mother.
Okay, that's his mother.
I started calling them the blonde-haired, blue-eyed devils. Her and those women. I started feeling more.
Biological mother.
I started calling them the blonde-haired, blue-eyed devils. Her and those women. I started feeling more and more that she was about promoting herself. She was
Narcissistic.
The women. The women.
narcissistic. Maybe you've seen the Matrix.
Yeah, of course. I've seen
Who called it? Who fucking called it? Me, that's who. I'm your fucking, who is it, baby? What did I say? This man saw the Matrix once and he was like, that's me, I'm Neo. Who called it? Thank you.
which came out in 1999. Gwen used that like that was meant for her and the remnant.
Oh, she used it.
You remember when Neo's being trained and like everybody can turn into Smith. So they had, this was the mindset she had us in. You're like looking around like anybody could become the enemy at any
that is
time.
crazy.
Lucifer is on the prowl, looking for you. Demons dressed like angels are everywhere, trying to get you to go sideways.
She's the original emo girl. She's the original emo girl. You know how hard in high school I tried to get my hair like this? Do you know how much hairspray and straightener and how many times I cried in my mom's arms because my hair would not look like this? Oh my God. She had my dream haircut when I was in high school. This is all I wanted my hair to look like.
Demons dressed like angels are everywhere, trying to get you to go sideways.
That kind
Yes, she's a scene queen.
of mindset though, you can see how people were shunning their families. And somebody inviting you to another church was, Satan was working through them.
And your sister is running the church now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you speak with her?
Oh, okay. First of all,
Satan was working through them.
And your sister is
it's kind of uncanny valley, but I kind of like it, but I kind of hate it, but I kind of like it.
running the church now?
Like, it's so uncanny valley, but I kind of like, I think I do like when people look weird. I like weird looking people. She's a weird looking person and I kind of like it, but it's weird. Her eyebrows are just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you speak with her?
No,
At all?
no. We only communicate through attorneys.
Oh, damn. Oh, my girl got an, oh, my girl. Oh, my girl.
I lost stepfather. My brother has left.
Oh, girl. No judgment. Oh, girl. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am is underfed. Okay. She really is. She is eating disorder. So I'm not trying to judge anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an ill person. My girl.
They've also served me with some no trespassing papers. So if I actually drive on right now, they'll call the police. There's remnant.
When's the last time you went in that building?
Oh, that's it right there. Ooh.
2021.
Do you get weird feelings?
See, this is the problem. We are dealing with people who are mentally ill and suffering from eating disorders. So anytime we make fun of anybody, or even make a joke. And that's the problem. I'm not trying to make a joke at the expense of, but I'm trying to be humorous about the situation. But then if we do that, we kind of like are punching down. But then if we don't do it, we're kind of like being dishonest. So then a part of me is like, oh, damn, this is real. Like people are really suffering. But that's the thing. Everybody is really suffering. Like the world is suffering. Everybody is suffering. Some of the most bigoted people you know are truly suffering. But then it's like, damn, I kind of want to make a joke about it a little bit, but not at the expense of you. Just like, Habibi, I see you, but also, you know?
There's somebody pulling out right now. I prefer them not to see me right now because we just got here.
All right, so we are here. Right in front of us is the Remnant Church. Is that the only main church?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
Damn.
I
Looks
still
like a
can't
regular,
believe
it looks like a regular ass church.
Shamblin is Michael's mom. She lived a fancy life off the church's profits, enabled child abuse, and even defended two members who murdered their own son.
Oh, shit.
But I'll get to that later. After her plane crashed, you'd think the church would fall apart, but it's still growing. To find out how, I got on the phone with someone who used to be on the inside, a former Remnant security guard.
What kind of things did you experience as part of the church?
Through my ex-wife, that was the main draw or attraction. She had done a class in her church before I was with her, and then it kind of resurfaced again after she had a firstborn, and then the weight loss was the main attractor.
At what point did you know something was wrong or didn't feel right or like?
Quite early on, I was kind of a duck out of water. It just seemed too frilly and fashion show-like. During the whole security, there were several times where there was members that were in the head stalkers. To me, that was kind of a red flag. It was set up almost kind of like a military. The security cameras that were staged around the building.
So everyone was being stalked basically, or watched.
During the worship service, people were being watched.
They got a room down in the basement specifically to monitor, and it was multi-screen.
Really? That's creepy as hell.
And they can see people, they're like not looking at Gwen, or what if they're talking amongst each other.
And would they call you out if you weren't looking at Gwen?
Yes, but they also...
Okay, is this the churchgoers? Let's look at them for a second. Let's just like take them in. They just look like regular ass people. You just never know what's going on in people's lives. You know, you really just, you're at the store, you're getting a potato, and you just never know what other people are going through. You really know. You don't know what people are going to, like where they're worshiping, you know, a house of worship on Sunday. These just look like regular ass people.
They mainly were become persons of interest, I guess, if you will.
And they didn't know they were being watched?
No.
Until now?
No.
Is this happening now?
Oh, I'm sure it is. There was a list from leadership of people to watch out for. And,
Chat says, wait, one potato? You know, sometimes you just need to buy one potato, okay? Also, Boy Lord, welcome to memberships. Happy to have you here.
there was guys posted perimeter-wise with full kit and with ARs.
Why is it always ARs? What is America's obsession with ARs?
ARs.
They have their own shooting range.
Really?
How many churches have their own shooting range?
Pretty crazy to talk to you about this as I'm staring at the church. It's just,
You know, churches have security teams nowadays.
Yeah,
Every
that's
church
normal.
has that. But
Yeah,
Remnant
yeah, yeah.
was leading the way, and they had a freaking army. One of the nights that I knew, it no longer is Christianity in my mind. I kind of just, after I said, if somebody was coming down the church drive.
Wait, Chad, this is very important. You said, where can you buy just one potato? Hello? What did I tell you guys? If they make it convenient for you, they're charging you. So if you buy a bag of potatoes, which I love to buy, they're charging you to wrap those potatoes up. But if they have at your stores, which they normally do, potatoes by the pound, you get it a little cheaper if you just put potatoes in a bag with yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Drive, and you knew they were coming after you, against you. They were ticked off. And she said, I'd have them shot down on the church drive. And I was like, so you would have somebody gunned down in the Remnant drive if you knew they were coming after you? She said, yes. And so that night, I remember leaving and going, you think of Christianity, like turning the other cheek, that teaching about forgiving, if someone strikes you, you turn the other cheek also. Yeah. It was nowhere to be found with Remnant. Remnant took everything to extremes. They have people that are in government intelligence that go to Remnant that are sympathetic.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And they would put together threat levels of people.
Wow.
And they were getting information that the average citizen couldn't
So
get.
they work together, the government
And so the church Remnant.
How is that legal? That can't be legal.
It wasn't legal.
Yeah, that's not legal.
No, it's not. And if those people were found out, if I said their name, they would lose their job. I would catch them setting up cameras on tripods wherever I went.
Everywhere you went, someone was watching you.
Yes, they knew where I was everywhere I went.
How did that make you feel?
It drove me insane. I hated it. I went over to the way down building after church service one day.
Hold on.
To go just work.
Hold on. Let's look at these people.
I hated it. I went over to the way down building.
I mean, we definitely have some people here that are sticking out just because of the hairstyles, or obviously the composition of the photos crazy. But like in general, again, people just look like people, huh?
After church service one day to go just work in my
Chet's had a lot of whites. That's true.
studio at my office over there. I decided to sneak into Gwen's office and I found a file she had on me that she had been collecting negative stuff about
Yeah, Chet said I expected more blonde people. Honestly, I did too.
me since I was in high school.
What?
Oh.
Why would any mom do that to her kid?
I went through kind of a dark phase in high school. I found this file and it just literally just destroyed me. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's devastating. Because you think your mom trusts you or you think your mom's a good person. So he wasn't in on it. He wasn't in on the cult. He believed in it, but he wasn't in on the scam of it. So when he found out there was a file on him, oh my God, that's so scary. No wonder he has trauma with this whole group. Why does he keep blaming women though? I want to know what that's about. You notice that? Obviously, he's giving incel red pill, but incel, not red pill, incel? Why does he keep saying my mom and these women? I haven't seen anything that pointed to is this a feminist cult? Is there a feminist cult? Is this some women cult? You know what I'm saying? Or what is this? He was the Zuko versus the sister was Azula. Oh my God, and his mom was the Fire Lord. Okay, if he wants to be cool enough to be Zuko, I'm going to need a redemption arc. Okay, girls? But I hear you. If he's going to be Zuko, though, I expect a redemption arc. Okay? Chaz said probably just blame women as the group because she's on top. Maybe. That's the thing. Is he blaming women as a system or just this group of women? Right?
You confront her about that?
I never told her.
I think that's the creepiest thing that I've heard so far.
She was the genuine definition of narcissism, to where she would always know more than anybody else. She had to be the expert on everything.
Listen to me. I believe it.
It was part of her control tactic.
Oh, good point. I mean, weight loss is geared towards women mainly. That's true.
Smart. She went to college and got a degree.
Though men do, and it is up in numbers that boys are experiencing eating disorders. So just heads up, it is now going to become an every gender problem faster than we can, get ready for it. Because a lot of those gym bros on the internet, I'm so glad they're talking about it. But a lot of them have been talking about body dysmorphia. Yeah. They've been talking about eating disorders. It is up now that Instagram is here. Boys are also being targeted, or not targeted even, that they just feel bad. I watch a lot of gym bro videos and I really do feel inspired by them a lot of the time, but I'm also glad they talk about the realities of feeling like your quads aren't big enough, or your calves are never big enough, or your, lats are never big enough. You never feel good enough. And I think that's so real,
Was she smart?
David Shamblin was smarter than her. She was a good speaker, though.
Oh, okay, hold up. David Shamblin's his father, Michael's father. Is this guy's name Michael? Why did I think his name was something else? So his father was smarter than her, and she's this evil woman. I'm still hearing misogyny. Tell me
about your dad.
And he actually had the divinity training.
Were you close with him before he passed?
Yes. After I left
Okay, buddy. I'm sorry. This guy is just giving me misogynist.
the church, we would go to lunch every single day. We hung out every single day. So we became best friends the last 2 years of his life. I only had 2 years with him, but...
How did he pass?
Pancreatic cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So was his dad complicit in the cult, or he just happened to be married to the cult leader? I'm sorry, did I miss something?
So she divorced him, filed against him.
Okay, so now it's, how they always say fathers turn or mothers turn kids against their parents? Listen, she obviously seems like a heavily abusive person. That doesn't change the fact that, again, you cannot turn your kids against a whole gender of person. Or you can say, oh, my mother was a narcissist and it sucks because she's doing so much bad for the world. But his whole personality is women and my mother. You know what I mean? And I get it. I get that your mom is a bad person, but that doesn't, it doesn't mean you need to take solace in red pill bubbles or in misogynist bubbles or in incel bubbles, right? Yeah, Chad said there it is. His dad passed and was idolized his mom, lived longer and was vilified. Exactly. So he has to deconstruct his relationship with how he sees his dad and how he sees his mom and not project that onto other people or create some narrative against women in general. But I think we can all agree so far, but his mother is every church, pastor in this way that takes advantage of the congregation, takes their money, has private jets. She's that bubble. But it's ironically enough because of the patriarchy. The only reason his mother is so successful is because of patriarchy. Because she is using the patriarchy to make money. But it could never have worked if you didn't believe in the patriarchy. That's what she's using to take advantage of people.
2017, and the divorce was finalized 2018.
He left the church as well?
He left the church a year into it, in 2000.
Oh, he left the church right away. But did he take his kids?
Like, he was only there for about 8 months.
Really? But
So did he fight for custody of his kids?
they were married and he wasn't in the church.
Yes, that's right.
odd.
Yeah, Chad said, does he think his dad was better than his mom? Yeah, he's saying his dad was like a good person.
Red flag from the start.
Yeah, and ironically, like, he was really beloved to a lot of people in the city, and he knew a lot of people. She was the Gwen, the charismatic, you know, you couldn't miss her. He never abused her. He didn't drink. He didn't.
Okay, so now my dad was perfect and my mom was purely evil, and maybe that's true. Maybe that is true, right? Like, if she's the abusive one, his dad's more likely the victim. That is true. But I would be, again, if he didn't say those comments about women, I would just not think anything of it. But because he said those comments about women, and again, women, it sounds like he's saying women as a people. If he was saying women as a system, we could have the conversation, but what system is there in which there are women? And I want to use this language in our bubble here, because again, we do not hate men as people. We hate men as a system, which is balanced and maintained by the patriarchy, which she's utilizing. So then it's just funny that his language is like blaming women when the irony is that it's patriarchy that made this possible.
Didn't do drugs. He didn't, he never cheated on her.
It's obvious that Michael has survived a lot of trauma, but opening up about it seems to be a positive step towards healing. Now we are heading to the building where it all started. Back in the 90s, before the church and before the cult, there was a diet class called Way Down that Gwen started, and we just arrived at the exact location.
Remnant actually worshipped here for the first 2 or 3 years of its existence.
They sold the building now. So does Way Down exist anymore?
It exists as like still the weight loss classes that the Remnant.
Did you do Way Down?
I've heard probably 10,000 hours worth of it. But yeah, and I worked here for 3 years in the shipping department. My entire life has been based around Way Down.
So you were really skinny at one point?
Yeah. Hard to believe, huh? Yeah.
That's not what I was getting at. Okay, I've seen pictures of Gwen, like, and she was like a toothpick.
I've had hundreds to thousands of people write me on like social media saying things like, Way Down program calls them to have eating disorders. So they're still to this day trying to unlearn the practices and things, the teachings that they had when they were in it. They would start pushing fasting, not eating for long periods of time.
So stop eating.
And then where it really got extreme was if you were in Remnant. You have people that are weight monitors, and you have leaders, so you're checking in constantly, and it caused people to go to extremes.
I'm trying to understand, why do they want people to lose weight? Like, what's the significance of that?
Because that was the #1 sin of Remnant, was weight. And so thinness would be equated with godliness.
Other religions don't believe this.
Gluttony is a sin like in the Catholic Church or something like that. But Way Down has taken it to the extreme. It is all appearance. It's how.
Yeah, but even as a Catholic, the gluttony could be things. It could be, it's not just food. It's not just like, there's fat phobia in the Catholic Church, but it's not just fatness. Like it's gluttony of any kind: food, money, porn, people. Like gluttony is an overindulgence sin. Don't overindulge. Don't be gluttonous. Don't be like, hoarding your wealth. Don't be, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting, but it's a good thing to use because fat phobia is so rampant in the world that it's a really good evil. It's a really evil, but like good in the sense like trap for people to trap people in the guilt of being bigger, and to use it as a way to control people. Like, keep people hungry and you have more control over them for sure.
Someone looks. It's how you're doing on your weight this week dictates.
And, in the Catholic Church, one of the fucked up things they promote or do is like, and I know every religion has this, right? You know how a lot of religions fast, and I know that fasting and like taking a break can feel really good meditatively. You can fast, you can feel really good about yourself. And I think it's like a reminder, but I do think like extreme forms of fasting is just like a means of control. It's a means of control. Especially since you feel the consequences of it so quickly and directly. So it makes you really feel like you're doing something. Oh, I'm fasting for sins. I'm fasting for preparation. And that's why meditation, by the way, is really, really rewarding because you feel like the benefits of it like right away. And that's why you also have to do it really like healthy and thoughtfully, because otherwise you can turn it into a cult or something negative or something harmful to you.
How close you are to God.
Okay, got it.
So I think this is an important point, though,
yeah,
is that it's women. Way Down was 99% women.
Oh, so here it is. Okay, here's the women.
An important point, though, is that it's women. Way Down was 99% women. I've actually started calling it the women's movement. It was women who run it. It was women who steer it. And so you have the ones who joined were like the families. It was headstrong women. They join way down. They get roped into joining the remnant. They pull their husbands in. They pull their families in. It's strong women. It's women is what it's.
My brother in Christ. My brother in Christ. Okay. You think women aren't victims of the patriarchy and fatphobia that tells women they're only valuable by being thin so men will love them? Like, why would this work on women if it wasn't already ingrained in society from men that women have to be pretty objects for them to love? Why the fuck would women care about being thin if it didn't already come from the patriarchy?
All been about.
Interesting.
So, you know, just basic facts, diet programs in the 80s, 90s, whatever, 2000s, it's a lot more female than male. The teachings of weigh down, that's one of the dangerous parts of it. It's causing people to go to extremes, and you're doing it for God. So they would tell people that were struggling in remnant.
God, Jesus, the man, the patriarchal religion. Yes, women were the victims of this cult. So he agrees. 99% of the victims of this cult were women. See how he's twisting it to be 99% of the women in this cult where like leaders were women instead of these victims were women. She targeted women. She targeted the most vulnerable people into this cult, women.
You need to fast for 40 days.
40 days?
How do you even live? So did people die
If
fasting?
you have a lot of excess weight, it's possible, but it's not healthy. But people, I mean, there's been all sorts of issues where people have had damage, internal damage to your organs and stuff like that, mess up your pregnancies.
Do you think Gwen had anorexia?
She one time confessed to me almost like that she had taken it so far that her body, she goes, I would eat just a few bites of salad and that's all I could eat for the day or I gain weight.
Wow.
What is it, your resting metabolic rate? It keeps going down and down as you're starving more and more. So she was eating so little, but she was also wanting to drink alcohol.
Oh, she drank as well.
So she would drink wine, but eat a few bites of salad. I remember her complaining about that to me. Her body had it was shutting down. She was a little fuller figured like when Weight On was popular. And then as Remnant went on, you just start seeing stick figure, anorexic by the end. And that's the problem. Here's my sister who's taken it over. That's their ideal spiritual icon would have been Gwen or Elizabeth to these women.
To this day?
To this day.
Damn.
Does that bother you?
I'm very uncomfortable with it.
I'm glad you're out. I'm glad you're like...
I mean, it's devastating all around. I hate that he's making it, he's not seeing how the women are victims. I hate that part because he's a victim. But I hate that he can't see how the women are also a victim. You know what I mean? And it's sad because now it becomes like an us versus them. You're all victims. You're all victims. These women are victims. And like your mom is severely unwell. And yes, she is a victim of patriarchy who made more victims under patriarchy. There's just like, everyone's a victim.
Seem to be in a much better state.
I'll be honest, I mean, my whole entire purpose at this point is to go against this women's movement.
Sure.
That's kind of what I'm...
See? His whole thing is to go against this women's. It's about women being the enemy instead of this church. Why didn't he just say, I'm against this cult? Now it's, I'm against these women. He made it about women instead of making it about the cult. Girl, go to therapy.
Not to be overly threatening.
Lift up Jerusalem and make this place.
Be in a much better state.
I'll be honest, I mean, my whole entire purpose at this point is to go against this women's movement.
Sure.
That's kind of what I'm doing. Not to be overly threatening.
Lift up Jerusalem and make this place a light to the world. You are the God of all.
I noticed that you never say the word mom and dad. You just prefer not to.
I say dad more, but Gwen, I started calling her Gwen. It's habit. And
yeah. That's all right.
Probably around the time when I found that file.
Before she passed, there was like a tension between you and her for a while. Yeah. But you never confronted her about this stuff. You couldn't.
I did. I confronted her one time when she was storing ARs down in the church basement. And I said, you're going to get some Waco, some sort of crap going on here. And I've got kids. I'm saying they're going to come in with smoke grenades.
Yeah.
And so she called a meeting that night and had to move it out of the church.
Do you think there will be a realistic case?
Did he just say I have kids?
Called a meeting that night. Sort of crap going on here. And I've got kids. I'm saying they're going to
Oh, he's got kids.
come in with smoke
Does he have a wife? Is he married?
grenades.
Yeah.
And so she called a meeting that night and had to move it out of the church.
Do you think there will be a realistic case where it could be shut down in the next 10 years? Like if all these allegations come out?
I've thought before trying to rally the city of Brentwood, try to get politicians involved. You get enough people crying out, they might do something. But I would love to see the day where the doors are closed.
No, we watched that other documentary about the Mormon cult, and that guy's still operating from prison. Look, a cult is a cult, and the problem with a cult is that it like brainwashes people like with anything else, and that's the problem. Like people are going to believe what they want to believe, but you always just have to be an option for them to get out. The best thing you can do is always remind people that when you're ready, I'm here, you know? And so it sucks that instead of being kind and compassionate and loving, he's vindictive and bitter. You know, it's sad that instead of him being like, I just want people to get out, I love them so much and I miss people, it's these fucking women. I'm gonna fucking take down this women's group. This, you know, he's bitter.
For the last time.
Since he left the church, Michael's been gathering evidence, not just about what happened inside Remnant, but what's still happening outside today. Now he has taken me back inside his house to show me everything he's uncovered.
They were keeping files on every single member in the church. They still do.
I wonder what he does for a living.
These are issues. This is what's called the guidance system. If somebody had a doubt about Gwen, it would be written. Every member has webcast history, how much they were watching the services, and if they did not watch it, it was noted, it would be logged. Every single person. Like here's just screenshots.
See, this is a cult. That's what I'm saying. Like all the times I was in the Catholic Church, I was not in the culty part. Like I know there are Catholic churches that are culty, but like no church was keeping tabs on us like this, guys. Like they did not give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like that's why I say there is a difference between a church and a cult. Is like I've been in the background, like I've worked enough, like we've known people within our Catholic churches where like people have been in the know and like there's nothing like that going on. And if there was, like we must have missed it or something, but like this kind of shit is like serious.
Took one time a text thread, Gwen's asking people once they make a home visit. Like she had people going through their pantries,
Jesus
their fridge.
Christ.
They report back what they find in people's houses, if they find Gwen's books and stuff like that. People in the church.
Hell no.
Here's an example of so-and-so chose not to come to Day of Trumpets and did not webcast either. Friendly reminder, Gwen is asking for those people in the Monday night class to have their weights reported once a month in the guidance. What do you call it? Invasive? Intrusive?
Yeah, Discord said my churches didn't keep tabs like that, but they were gossiping. Oh, gossiping is always going to happen for sure. But like nobody was logging, or at least not in my church. Like nobody was logging or being like, you weren't at church last week. You know what I mean? They would say it like if you came back, they're like, oh my God, I missed you last week. How are you? But they would literally come to your house.
All of the above. Yes, exactly. They had maps of everybody.
Oh yeah, chat says this might have been wider spread than just this group. My mom's aunties were obsessed with Weight Watchers. My mom was so skinny. Well, I'll say this, when Weight Watchers and stuff came out, my mom always said like, no. Like my mom does have a pretty good like cult dar. Like she is pretty good at like, I don't know what this is, but no. And everybody was obsessed with Weight Watchers when I was a kid. But my mom always said like, you don't need Weight Watchers. You just need God. And like, that's kind of funny, but you need to be disciplined. Okay. You don't need Weight Watchers. You just need to eat good food. Right. And so like, it is interesting. Like Weight Watchers was definitely, was Weight Watchers what Oprah did? What did Oprah do? Was that Weight Watchers? Right. Everybody was obsessed, you know? And so it just Jesus is a biscuit. Well, all you need is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Eat a little Jesus every day and you won't gain weight. You know, that those wafers are nothing. So it's like, yeah, it's like that kind of stuff was so popular in diet culture in general. Guys, that's why I say I do not believe in diets. Like, I believe like you can call something a diet. Like, oh, what do you eat in your diet? But I don't believe in like punishing yourself or feeling bad or like, I don't want to be a part of something that makes me feel bad for having gained the weight in the first place or wanting to change my physique or anything that makes me feel like I'm different than everybody else. I'm out in a bad way. You know what I mean? Anything that makes me like, I don't like that shit, you know? Just good for her. My bubble is very vulnerable to this type of control. And I don't know what makes people more open to it. Well, to be honest, I did have relatives who really liked it. And that's why it became a conversation in the household where some of my aunties were very into everything. And I think a big part of it is wanting to be a part of the fad. I mean, Oprah made it kind of cool. People made it kind of cool. And you don't want to, you know, lose out. You want to be a part of it. My mom is so like autistically rebellious. She's like, no, I like what I like and I don't like other people's stuff. So I think it kind of kept her safe. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the thing is like kept her kind of safe from, but she belongs to her own weird clique, which is the Catholic Church, right? But I think my mom just didn't like, it wasn't going to be cool. But I think it was just like her neurodivergency in a way. But I will say that I think a lot of it is like what's the other one? What's that pyramid scheme? One of my brothers fell for? Amway? I remember when my brother came home and he's like, oh, I'm part of Amway. I was like, that's an MLM, bro. What are you doing? You know, but you know what my mom did do as a younger person? She was a successful Mary Kay consultant. She got the pink car. She met Mary Kay herself. She went to the pink mansion. My mom was like a killer Mary Kay consultant. But you know what I also did when I was young? Avon. See, what? It's like, what? It's like, what? So, and then my mom's MAGA. So like, really, did my mom stay away from it? You know what I mean? But my mom, I will say, my mom was the bread. She was the earner in the family when she was doing Mary Kay. But like some of those some of that stuff just ends up becoming a scam because it requires you to sign up. Yes, girls, Avon. Remember Avon? I was signed up by friends' mothers, and all of a sudden I was trying to sell Avon. All of a sudden we were doing Avon parties, but then eventually I was like, how does this make sense to do Avon if the only way we make money is by setting people up? And I was like, this is stupid. This is so dumb. And then boom. Yep.
His house everywhere they were in Brentwood. This was a time period when Gwen, she started changing the scriptures to allow divorce when she wanted to get a divorce.
Oh, so she would basically change laws depending on what she wants to do with her own private.
You mean like every man who's ever ruled a church ever? You mean like every patriarchal religion? He's making it sound, he doesn't understand. She's taking from the direct playbook of patriarchy. Yeah, this is literally what every, like, she would have made a great politician. She would have made a great politician. I mean, she's smart to go into churches though, because they don't have to pay taxes. She is a politician, except this way she doesn't have to pay tax on everything.
Life.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And immediately once she did this, all of a sudden you had all these women divorced, like lining up to divorce. You have so many.
You know what's funny is he probably thinks it's really bad these women divorce their husbands instead of realizing like these women were brainwashed by a cult and victims of a cult and their husbands lost their wives to a cult. He's blaming these women as being like what did he call them? Rebellious women? Strong-headed women? Instead of seeing these women as victims, he sees them as like perpetrators.
Families that have been split apart by this church, but that was a big deal when she did that.
Okay, he said by this church.
Up to divorce. You have so many families that have been split apart by this church, but that was a big deal when she did
These Machiavellian mothers. Yes, Chad, these Machiavellian. I want to see him have empathy for the victims.
that. Now, this is something interesting. Looks
He's ready to aim and fire for anyone who doesn't give him the perfect 10. Are you pointing at my house? Michelle's office, to be exact. Elizabeth Hannah and Aaron Shamble. So is Aaron his sister?
like something I saved whenever they make kind of threatening wording. I'd keep these screenshots. And this was just a sampling of what they really were deep down feeling about me.
All right, so what's going on here? You got a briefcase of things.
I didn't know if you knew this or not, but I've got a stalker. She was a part of Remnant Memphis.
She's currently stalking you?
Yeah. She's tried to kill me. She's been arrested 14 times for especially aggravated stalking, so she's never gotten physically close enough to me. They would arrest her like when she pulled into the church or stuff like that. Like she writes these gigantic, huge letters, like 50, 60-page letters to me. And she writes them from prison too. She wasn't even supposed to. What the hell? Why did I want to kill you, Michael? The Lord says they no longer ask for the Lord's guidance or seek my blessing. Then she says, I'm writing you all today to admit that I brought the knives from home in order to kill you, Michael, because you did not comply with my demand to engage in sexual immorality.
That's not good. That's not good.
Were you actually scared that she might kill you at one point?
Oh,
Yeah.
So
hell yeah.
where is she now?
She's in prison. Remnant had all these satellite churches, and so she's in Memphis, and she starts hearing like this code in Gwen's sermon and all my song lyrics that God is telling her that we're supposed to be united. So she starts coming to Remnant Nashville.
So basically she joined the church, fell in love with Michael, became obsessed, became a stalker, and continued to stalk him even from prison.
And she starts trying to get into all the events, and they start slapping her with orders of protection and trespassing. She didn't care. She didn't care if she gets arrested.
But if she was part of Remnant Church, why would she want to?
By that point, she was kicked out. So the first thing a lot of people see when they come in is this painting. And a lot of people kind of get weirded out by it.
Where there's many devils and worms as there are roof tiles, I would on. I don't get it.
This is Luther. He was excommunicated from the Catholic Church. So he's saying if there's many devils and verms as there are roof tiles, I would on. And
So what does this mean to you?
it's symbolic. Because at that, it was called the Imperial Diet of Worms. He refused to recant. And then they issued, from that day forward, all his writings were banned.
It makes sense that Michael admires Luther, a man who challenged the church from the inside, exposed corruption, and sparked a reformation. In a way, Michael's trying to do the same. Now he is taking me to one of the only restaurants that Remnant members were allowed to dine at.
Yeah, he thinks of himself as a hero, right? He wants to like be and I get it, like I wish he had better intentions. No offense. I don't think he has good intentions, right? I don't think he's doing it for the right reason. I think he's trying to get like revenge. I don't see him. He's not talking about any victims. He's not talking about the people he's trying to save. He's not expressing concern. He's just expressing like anger and bitterness and a desire to like destroy this thing. But he doesn't actually care about the victims. You know what I mean?
A place that shows
At least not yet.
just how deep the control really went.
We're here with Steve, who's the owner of Sopapia's, which looks amazing. And what do you know about Michael and the Remnant Church?
We've hired
Members?
children that, of members that worked, and I've never had any issues with with
Sure.
anyone from Remnant.
How about when the news broke in 2021? Like what?
It was a lot, because Gwen would come in quite often, and we'd have
really?
conversations, and it was definitely shocking.
What was your thoughts on Gwen?
I always enjoyed talking with her. I went through a divorce when I first opened the restaurant, so we talked about divorce after she had gone through, and so we just took it as face value for the people that we saw that came.
Personally, I think it's strange that like people are pressing you to like lose weight and to not eat.
I had heard about that and heard different things.
Right.
Like there were certain restaurants that were approved for
really
people to go to.
I didn't even know that. Was yours approved?
Evidently, because we had a lot of people
here.
Yes.
If she was
this, J. Alexander's, and there's some others.
Need a little second to unwind here after hanging out with Michael. I've done a lot of stories on
This guy is still doing his cult shit from prison.
Communities around the U.S. This one is one of the darkest and most interesting, especially because it's still happening. Excited to learn more. This is just getting crazier and crazier.
Now we are heading into the heart of the remnant community, the mansions. Huge gated homes owned by the top members of the church.
Did you ever live in a mansion?
I lived in Ashland in high school.
So you grew up like pretty wealthy, like you had money.
No, we grew up dirt poor in Memphis. Our family was like $20,000 in debt by the time I was like 8 or 9. Like they were working multiple jobs.
Sure.
So then when Way Down started, it blew up. I will say one thing about our family. I felt like we were able to appreciate things because we were like, we were thrilled to get to go to McDonald's or something growing up. Like that was a big treat where other people would just think that's normal.
Do you know how much money the church was pulling in at its height, at its peak? Like millions of dollars a month?
Millions.
And where did that money go?
Salaries for the people that worked at Remnant. A lot of it went towards legal. Remnant is like a well-oiled machine with their legal team because they're always, at any given moment, they're in helping members fight custody battles against spouses that are outside the church.
They're not dumb. Like they know what they're doing.
So once again, he's like, I get it. I want to hear him show concern for people. So again, when he's like, oh, they're helping them fight custody battles. So again, he's assuming that the cult is women. And so therefore all the men are victims, which could be true. But don't you think some of the women are victims? Like if my spouse got brainwashed into a cult, I'd be devastated. I would literally be so fucking devastated. Like that scares me. Every day I am terrified that one of my siblings or somebody in my life is going to get tricked into Scientology or some fucking cult where I can't reach them. Like that scares me. Every time I think about it, I get scared. It's already hard enough having MAGA parents. That feels as close to a cult as I'm ever going to feel like. And if they weren't stubborn their whole life, you know what I'm saying? And thank goodness they've stayed away from the really hardcore stuff. Like sometimes I've seen these MAGA people and I'm like, okay, at least my parents aren't them. But like they're pretty hardcore, you know what I mean? Republican, MAGA, whatever. And it's so scary. At least I can contact my parents. At least I can call them. At least I know they're safe. At least I know they're living a good life, These people, like I would be so devastated if one of my partners got swooped up into this. One of my partners, like I have many.
I feel like people across the board, they underestimate Remnant because it was a little woman, sweet looking woman with blonde hair. And now my sister's this little girl. They can talk sweet. And it seems like a pretty little church sitting out there in the field. And people just don't understand how harmful, brutal these people can be. And she started getting obsessive about painting stuff white. One of the things that bothered my dad and me more than anything, one day she had all of her books painted white in her library, painted over the covers and everything.
That's weird.
These are like nice books. She started painting everything white. She wanted everybody to start wearing white. People started painting their houses white. All interior, all exterior was white.
But all the other houses are like brick. Dark color, and then you have these white ones. I wonder what the neighbors think about the remnants. Like
neighborhoods in Nashville dread it if remnant starts moving into their neighborhood.
Why?
Because they take over. They try to get on all the committees.
Do you ever feel like you want to leave Brentwood and distance yourself from all this mess?
I think I still want to be close to where my kids are.
Are they involved in what you're doing and what you believe in, or?
Well, they're in remnant. So.
They are in remnant.
Oh. It would take a lot of work for him to get past the resentment, right? He's probably devastated for his kids. I wish he could fight for them in a way that I wish he could liberate himself from his bitterness so he could get through to his kids in a way that didn't make him look like a fucking freak show on this video. I mean, the guy's like, talking about guns and wearing all black and he has a persona and he's referencing the Matrix. Like, homie, can you please lock in and be a little more fucking normal and then fucking show up and fight for your kids as an activist? Like, he needs to meet some activists. He needs to talk to real people who are doing activism, because I do think a lot of this is like image, and he knows it, but he doesn't get it, right? So like he must have married a woman in the church. He must have had kids with her, and then she's in the church with the kids, and then he's right that he probably, like, the church probably fights for custody for the kids because, you know, kids are the number one thing a cult needs, right? So they have second, third, fourth generations. So yeah, I wish I could be on his side 100%, but his misogyny is ruining it for me. Like, his misogyny is making it hard to empathize with him as a full victim, even though he definitely is. And I see that. I see I see how evil this is. And also, like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I wish he was like a good person with a good heart who like had moved past his bitterness, so I could be like, we have to advocate for this guy. But see, I can't, because now my worry's about the children. So now my concern went from him to the kids. So now all I care about are the kids. We got to get the kids out. We got to get the women who don't even realize they're brainwashed, like, out. So maybe there are definitely women right now who are terrified for their life in this cult. There are women who know. If there is that many members, there are couples who don't know how to get out. There are people who don't know how to get out. And that's the thing. There's always those people. There are always people every day waking up every day and having a bubble pop and realizing like, oh shit, am I in a cult? And so I'm worried about those people who are too terrified and don't have the tools to get out. Instead of assuming all of them are these evil, vindictive people, they're victims.
And they still,
With my ex, yeah.
and they still appreciate you, and even though you're so outspoken.
I'm saying they're sweet. The leadership made them.
Wow, look. Oh, wow.
And they still appreciate you, and even though you're so outspoken.
I'm saying they're sweet. The leadership made them say that they were going to pull back and not have anything to do with me if I kept going.
Got it.
But I kept going. I'll tell you one of the poems I wrote one time. It was, in the Brent Woods, there dwell many white witches who make men do their bidding with a church of sales pitches. There's Ashlon, by the way.
He's, there's no such thing as a perfect victim. He's that guy. You know how they say that about women? Like, there's no such thing as a perfect victim. He's exactly that trope. I know he's deeply difficult to empathize with, but he is a victim. And we have to remember that there's no such thing as a perfect victim. And Jesus Christ, he's so annoying, but he's still a victim. And so obviously, you know what I mean?
The mansion. Oh, Elizabeth.
I just think it's interesting that he's not so none of the men are being held accountable. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at women uphold patriarchy. Some of the women in that cult are absolutely perpetrators of abuse as well. But like, I like that none of the men who are still in it are held accountable in any capacity. It's just interesting.
That's her house? Damn, that is a nice house.
Right as we drive by his sister's giant mansion, a guy mowing the lawn starts circling us like we just set off an alarm.
Just drive a little slower.
Okay,
Jesus Christ, the guy's like,
wow,
right
what are the odds? She just pulled up and pulled by. That was Donna Fisher.
Wait, pulled up in
the van that just drove by us, yeah.
Oh, he's definitely watching you. Did you see that?
Okay, so they're on the lookout for us.
Just keep driving.
It looked like a Martin boy, David and Jennifer Martin's son. They're the ones that passed away in the plane crash.
Oh. But is he close with your sister?
Yes, she's super loyal to her.
Let's say worst case scenario for me. I go there right now by myself and I'm filming on my phone and someone comes up to me and says, hey.
I said, get off.
Wait, totally. Chad says it's like he fell into MGTOW logic when going through all of this and just latched on to blaming women. For sure. He's definitely like a victim, but he's not out of the cult yet. You know what I'm saying? They still have a grip on him. He's not out of it. He's not helping from the outside. He's still in it. He's half in, half out. And he's trying to, so that's what I'm saying. He needs to get out of the cult fully, really free himself from the cult, and then try to help. But he can. He's still in it. His whole life is like about this thing.
Get off.
I go there right now by myself and I'm filming on my phone and someone comes up to me and says, hey.
I said, get off the property.
Because you've been so outspoken against the church.
To be fair, didn't he say he left in 2021? So he's freshly out. He still needs more time, I think, to realize, to heal.
Have you developed a new following or a new community of people that support you now?
Yes. After Channel 5, that was a really big step for me. Up until that point, I had not really spoken out publicly. It's hard to call it a church in my mind. It's a cult. It was like a whirlwind of pieces of trash talking remnant leaders and members. Like
Right.
Elizabeth stayed in her house for 3 years. You can't get any information on anything.
What do you mean she stayed? She didn't leave?
She didn't want to be seen by anybody. She didn't even step foot in the church for 3 years.
But just recently she started.
Just now.
Just now. And why do you think she feels comfortable now doing it?
She just got remarried to a guy who's completely kind of a mystery himself. He's a contractor for NASA and SpaceX, so nobody. Nobody knows any background on him. His profile picture is like all black. He's from Florida. Like their wedding, there was no family. He's got no kids. You can't find his schooling. There's nothing.
It's weird to think that people idolized your mother for so many years.
I think the dilemma with cults is they're businesses in disguise. So ultimately the question is like, who's funding it? What connections? What rich people are like, oh, this is perfect. I want in. You know what I mean?
And when she passed away, now they're idolizing your sister.
Well, I would call it worship. They worshipped Gwen, and now that has been passed down to Elizabeth. They are worshiping her as the female leader of Remnant.
I never thought about this whole thing, this cult being so female-driven, but it makes sense now.
In the Old Testament, there was a queen, Jezebel. It was actually a real woman.
Jezebel, are we so fucking for real right now?
The Bible talks about her. She's like maybe the most wicked woman who's ever lived. Her agenda was replacing the worship of God with the worship of Baal and the worship of Ashtoreth. And she also murdered the prophets of God. Mm-hmm. What I believe is anybody who's open to this is women. We're talking about women here who are open to this spirit. They want to be worshipped themselves. Mm-hmm. I believe a form of this Jezebel spirit has been birthed called the Gwen.
So he's superstitious. He's still religious. See? He's still religious. He still believes in devils and Satan and spirits. And so he didn't deconstruct. Yeah, he didn't deconstruct, chat said. He just jumped to a different construction. Yeah, he's still religious. So he's cool with the patriarchy, but God forbid. Okay. I told you, he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Damn, bro. That's crazy. I almost feel like this guy, if he was given a better position in the church, he wouldn't have complained about it. He's just mad because he feels like he wasn't invited in. I'm telling you.
I've seen people change. It's women. It's always women. Gwen, finally, she had enough of being under men authority. By then, she was ready to start a place where it's 24 hours a day playing Gwen on the radio. Everybody has to have the apps. She gets to be worshipped. She was giving them permission to break authority. That's what it was. It was sneaky. But she was living it out. She embodied it. And honestly, Remnant has taken notes from Scientology.
Really?
They studied Scientology. Yeah.
That stuff's
I mean, I
crazy.
believe
They
it.
literally said they would visit it, they would study it. In fact, the Church of Scientology in Nashville loved Gwen. They loved Remnant. Every
I
church
believe
we
it.
went to before Remnant, she caused problems. She would speak out of turn. Every church we went, they left a wake of people that hated her. I know that doesn't sound as maybe as crazy to people from other states and stuff, but in the South, that was a big deal for women to be speaking out like that. So Gwen, she has this spirit. So what she's doing, it's manipulation once again.
I like that he's putting in the same sentence of women being rebellious against the patriarchy, also in the same sentence as like a devil spirit. See? He's a misogynist.
And her agenda is it's replacing the worship of God with the worship of a woman.
Yeah, so he believes in God, right? All these people suck. And this is why religious trauma is so real. It victimizes not only people outside of the church, but people in the church. This is why cults are so dangerous.
And that's also why I talk about witchcraft, witches.
Oh my fucking God. Girls, I was not ready. I knew it. See how we knew day one? See how everyone who's not in this community is probably like, Brittany's so judgmental. She just barely watched this guy talk and she's already written him off as a misogynist. Bro, I know one when I see one.
It's mainly manipulation. Sure. It's manipulation of somebody's will. And that's why I'm calling this, it's closer to a form of witchcraft than it is Christianity. My mission in life now, it's to expose them and to snuff out this Gwen spirit.
Have you lost trust with all women because of this? Like subconsciously?
For the most part, I believe women have an innate sense of lying.
After almost getting
Like subconsciously?
For the most part, I believe women have an innate sense of lying.
What are we gonna do without all these men, these Machiavellian mothers, turning their sweet, innocent boys into these rabid dogs? Oh, this is why we can't trust the women. I'm listening to me. Oh, didn't I tell you, bro? Didn't I tell you?
After almost getting caught outside Elizabeth's home, I'm even more nervous about showing up to the church later and trying to convince them that I want to join.
We're rolling up to the church here. I'm gonna have to keep my cat. I don't want them to know we're filming.
But before that,
Ooh.
Michael and I want to grab lunch in town so I can unpack more about the cult's current activities.
We made it to downtown Franklin. We're gonna get some food and walk around, learn more about this place. So what is this building right next to you?
So this is the Williamson County Courthouse in Franklin.
Have you been there?
Multiple times for stalker situation, mainly.
So you've had to like talk to court, not about...
I've had to testify in court, take the stand, and that kind of stuff.
If there's a remnant member that walks by, can you figure out who they are just by how they dress?
They went really hardcore into the white and the khaki.
Right.
Gwen loved this.
Oh, I gotta see the people.
They
Hold
dress.
on.
They went really hardcore.
Okay. Aw, poor babies. All these innocent, beautiful children being manipulated and brainwashed. I'm so sad for them.
Or into the white and the khaki.
I mean, looks like every fucking Mormon Christian person I've ever seen.
Right.
Gwen loved the stuff like shabby.
Oh, free people, bro. You know Gwen loves free people, bro. This all looks like it came from free people.
Now, Elizabeth has been trying to normalize everyone. That's been kind of their slogan, is to normalize. Super nice.
The devil has arrived.
The black table.
Can you tell me about this, like, Smith's murder case? I don't really understand it, but I read about it online.
A boy died. Little Joseph Smith died. He was murdered by his parents, Joseph and Sonia Smith.
Oh.
They were members of Remnant in Georgia. They were getting some bad counsel from Remnant, telling them to do stuff like lock him in his room for the weekend because he was out of control. And a lot of the police and detectives and everybody that saw the case in Atlanta, they said it was like some of the worst case of child abuse they've ever seen.
So the kid died?
Yeah, he dies. Murdered.
And what happened? How did it come back to the church?
Because they were members of Remnant and they were getting counseled by the Remnant how to discipline their child. And they were suggested he start using glue sticks to beat him, like long glue sticks, like like a whip.
And do you think in today's day and age, if that stuff's still happening? Or is it more like secretive?
I think they're doing all they can do to try to steer away from that kind of stuff right now. I don't think they're doing that right now. They're trying to avoid persecution. They know the stuff being talked about at the church. People are, eating disorders and starving themselves. So now she's put out the directive to everybody to...
Yeah, Chad said, I wonder if this is race-based. Like, honestly, it's interesting that the only child to ever die in the church was black. And it's interesting that most of the families we've been seeing, 99%, I haven't seen a black or brown person yet. And the only family that was targeted to the point where their child died was a black family. Feels fucking a little, you know what I mean, on the nose.
Normalize. I think that could cause issues for people that are trying to claim Christianity. Because Christians in general were trying to stand out.
So he is a Christian. Boo. Boo. See? He loves the patriarchy.
Out from the world. And Remnant's trying to look as much as they possibly can like the world.
Interesting.
Yet,
Chad said I did see a few black kids sprinkled in. Oh, okay.
I don't think they're doing a good job because they're still weird.
When the plane crash happened, did you get a call, a text? What happened?
So I was driving down the interstate and I got a call from Elizabeth. She got notified before me because they had already enacted a plan that she's...
Honestly, bros, I'm hungry. That looks pretty good. What is it? It looks like a biscuit and a salad with I don't even know what, but I'm kind of hungry.
Going to be leader. So she's getting full-time recon and calls from security and people. They already had people driving up there to get on the ground at Percy Priest Lake. So she called me to let me know. I just couldn't believe it happened. I wasn't sad about it.
I saw that. You said you never cried?
To this day.
It doesn't make you sad?
No. It's like my enemies had just died.
You have no enemies. See? He's angry at the world and not for it. He's angry at this cult and not for it. He's not angry for the victims. He's not angry for the kids. He's not angry for his own kids. He's angry at the church.
But I don't gloat over my enemies. I take that passage to heart. I don't do that.
So you found out.
You sure about that, buddy?
Dad. And who else was on that plane?
My stepdad, Joe Lara. Brandon Hanna was co-pilot. That was my best friend since 10th grade.
So were you sad about him passing?
That was a tough one. He started getting into more and more stuff, helping them do illegal activities. And I found out he broke into my house when I was singing worship music. He broke into my office, which was locked. And he pried open the back of my 17-inch MacBook Pro laptop. And he cut his finger on it. He never could install whatever he was trying to install. So he pried, it was like iron. It's like galvanized steel. He was prying it open. I come back, my computer It won't sit flat on the desk.
Oh my God.
I turned over, the steel has been pried open. He was good at picking locks. They all were. They were trained to do, they have safe crackers on the security team. So he got more and more into just loyalty to Gwen, and he was working against me, and he became my enemy.
He's an enemy.
Yeah, and that's,
There's a lot of unhealed trauma here. I really hope he speaks to like a grief counselor, somebody to help him with his anger and bitterness. Cause like he is a victim. He just needs a lot of counseling. But it sucks. It sucks that he is taking his pain and turning it into hatred for other people.
that's why people think I'm like some heartless, asshole. But I'm not.
No, I get it.
So all of a sudden to have those people die, it was like, that was some relief to me. I mean, it was.
Sure.
You must have felt like a newborn Michael has arrived. Like you can say what you want, like you can do what you want.
I remember talking to my dad on the phone as soon as I got home. And the first thing we talked about was it a suicide? Which posed problems because then it would be a murder-suicide.
No way.
He was miserable.
Who flew
Really?
the plane?
Joe.
He could have crashed it. Nobody would know.
They were on their way to a Trump rally. Unbeknownst to me,
Of course they were. Of course they were. On their way to a Trump rally. Listen, I love skinny bitches. They're my favorite. Please eat less so I can pick you up easier.
she started giving money to Trump organizations.
Of course.
And she was going to a, guess what? Women for Trump rally. They were going to have a weigh-in function down there in Florida, Palm Springs.
Wow.
And they were on their way to that when the plane crashed.
Really?
Yeah, pretty wild.
Sure you're not on a weight loss program?
Does it look like I am? I'll be honest, I started gaining weight when they got a divorce. She told me the same day she told my dad she was filing for divorce. And I took that pretty hard. And that was a big change for Remnant. I kind of started letting myself go, I guess you could say.
Damn, bro.
This is Main Street, Franklin.
After all, I do run a travel channel, so it's kind of cool that people can see what it looks like here. It seems like this place has been around since like the 1800s.
Yes, we tried to do a concert here at Franklin Theater when I was worship leader. But we were never allowed to do anything outside of the church, so that was a huge deal to me. We toured here and we, we're setting it all up, and like we were going to fill it with all Remnant people. It's like 328 capacity. So when we get back to the wait-on office, I was pumped. That was like a big deal for me. And they called up and they were like, "We looked up Gwen on the internet and it's a cult. Sorry, we can't do it."
Really?
Oh.
They canceled it.
Damn.
Oh, they straight up called it a cult?
Never got to do it.
Your mother was very wealthy. She passed. The money is somewhere. How has the financial thing worked with you?
Yes.
Good.
Me and my sister got inheritance.
That's great. And that must have been very helpful for you to live your life.
I'm grateful for that.
I'm glad that happened.
I wondered what he did for a living. So interesting. Kind of evil money, though. It's kind of evil money. You'd almost want to like donate most of it or something. I don't know. I guess like keep enough to live off of, but like interesting.
Didn't know if you got that or if in the will or something that your mom blocked you or something like that.
And one of the things I think the misconceptions a lot of people have said is that, they make such a big deal about how Gwen didn't leave any money for the church.
Right.
Here's the thing though. Our family owned that 40 acres that's sitting in the middle of Brentwood. That's 40 acres of land for the church.
That's so valuable.
You think about that. And then also the church building itself is worth like $4 million.
Right.
That would have been ours.
Yeah.
Upon her death. So she donated that to the church.
Oh, wow.
So every acre is like over $1 million.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like,
how many million?
Does he literally only care about the money? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing?
Millions of dollars.
Tens and tens of millions
$40 million.
Yeah.
Not very Christian of him. You know what I'm saying?
No ticket.
Good.
There was a time, when at the day mansion they had a bunch of Remnant kids over and they were out of town and they let them all just come over for a big sex party kind of thing going on at their mansion.
Like younger than 18?
Some of them, yeah. They had like mattresses on the floor and everything. No, they're like just all sleeping with each other and stuff like that.
The kids?
Yeah, like young adults and stuff.
Put that on the website.
That's disturbing.
I think another big problem has been these Remnant adults have been buying alcohol for the youth when they come over for parties. Remnant's had a lot of stuff they covered over. They've had kids die from drunk driving and killing other people in drunk driving accidents. And
we're really hyping it up, like my visit to the church, because after knowing all these things, I'm gonna have to put on this fake smile, like, hello, how are you?
What Remnant does, they're experts at rewriting history.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand how quickly they rewrite history. They erase websites. If somebody leaves, you disappear. You're off the directory. You disappear from videos.
They change laws.
People in Remnant right now, they would love to say that They're the next generation of remnant leaders who had nothing to do with all the past abuses that happened under Gwen. But what the actuality is that they are all complicit with it, and they're completely lying their faces
By the way, this video came out like a few days ago, so this is like current.
off. The master plan of what Elizabeth's doing and the top leaders, they're letting the current generation die off. They don't care about them.
Oh.
She's taken a page from Gwen, and her regime basically now is, it's going to be the youth because they're ultra loyal. They're like, you know, like the Hitler youth, that kind of stuff.
Right.
The brown shirts. They don't know any better. They don't know the outside world. They've been raised in the remnant. There's tons of kids in the remnant. It's the youth. That's their plan. And she has been working them for the last decade. That's been her speciality, the youth.
How do you think it all evolves?
It always is the youth. Trump, it's the youth. Like, everybody goes after kids because like you're the future. Kids are the future. Everybody goes after the youth.
The next 5 to 10 years.
I've had a lot of people, you know, posture that they think, you know, we've got the remnant on the ropes. It's going to close the doors. What I'm seeing is that they're still strong.
It's surreal to hear Michael's vision of remnant.
Also, it's interesting that he keeps showing this group of like remnant leaders, and a lot of them are men. Am I stupid?
Future.
Hold on.
But now it's time to attempt.
Let's go back.
Change laws.
People in remnant right now.
Is man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 men, 1, 2, 3, 4 women? Am I confused about something? He keeps saying the cult is like mostly women. Is it? Do we know that? Can I get numbers here? Can I get numbers here?
Plan. And she has been working them for the last decade. That's been her speciality, the youth.
How do you think it all evolves in the next 5 to 10 years?
I've had a lot of people, you know, posture that they think, you know, we've got the remnant on the ropes. It's going to close the doors. What I'm seeing is that they're still strong.
It's surreal to hear Michael's vision of remnant's future. But now it's time to attempt to visit inside
Okay,
the church
let's
to see how
see.
I'll be received. Due to safety and legal reasons, Michael is unable to join, and I'm too scared to go alone. So I connected with a local guy named Anthony who's up for the adventure. We are meeting
Okay,
up at a
Anthony.
local Target to find some clothes so I can blend in.
That's all I need.
We're not shopping at Target. I don't know if you heard.
I just bought this in Target, which
Wouldn't you wear white?
ironically matches him. And we are going to roll up together. I don't know if I can film on this camera. I probably got to use my phone. Actually, I might be able to put my phone in a pocket. And we're just going to question them and just say, like, hey, we're interested in joining. We want to learn about the community. We're not going to say anything else.
No, that's it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It sounds like you've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah, a very long time. Thank you for coming, Drew.
This guy's a legend.
No one knew anything about it until the plane crashed in Smyrna, where I live in Smyrna.
It was in Smyrna?
Yeah, it was in Smyrna
Oh, so-
on Percy Creek Lake. Well, first it was like the actor who played Tarzan was in the plane. You
Really?
know?
What?
Yeah, that's her husband.
Oh, shit, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
the original Tarzan from the
Oh.
Then it came back, you know, like it was, you know, preacher of this church, and then it all just broke loose.
Did you hear about her like weight loss program?
Yeah, the weight loss program. She would say, you know, when you're hungry, pray. Barely eat. Like her hair weighed more than her body did. She denounced the Trinity. She denounced the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So therefore, the actual, you know, church wanted to cut ties with her. So that's when she went to do her own thing. And like, she
What
went to do her
are
own
your
thing.
thoughts on like the not eating? Like it's not healthy
It's
to do
not
that.
healthy.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to do that? That's like, you know, putting your body through hell. Why would you put your body through so much hurt when the Bible says, you know, keep your body as
Man, all these people are Christians. It's interesting. It's like Christian on Christian crime. It's Christian on Christian. You know what I mean? Like, they're also part of patriarchal religions, but they want to take down this cult, which I understand. There is a difference between a church and a cult, but also it's just kind of interesting.
temple.
Right.
Why would you start it?
We're almost at the church, and part of me feels like I should have packed a bulletproof vest or something. Will they really believe we're just regular locals wanting to join the cult? I'm feeling pretty anxious.
He should have gone with a woman. He should have gone as a couple. You know what I mean? He should have gone with a girl. That would have been much more believable than two guys coming up, right?
Up to the church here. I'm gonna have to keep my I don't want them to know we're filming, so let's just roll in and then
The Remnant Fellowship.
all we're here for is just to kind of learn and go to the left side where those two white vans are. Park,
Alright.
park over there. That's what Michael said. I'm gonna turn off the camera now and we're
They
gonna
got security. He's gonna stop us.
here, move the mic, move the mic.
All right. Hey, sir.
What can I do for you?
I'm Brian Mullis. I had emailed the church this morning, and I was just curious, you know, what it was about and everything. We're looking to get into church.
So
you
what's
know,
the microphone for?
What, the microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just for...
They wore a microphone? That's not even subtle. Oh, you guys are the worst. I could have been so good at that. I could have been so sneaky. They're not even trying to be sneaky.
Detailed perspective. No.
So you can visit the church website, perpetuatefellowship.org.
Yeah.
You can find everything out you want to out there. Any further questions, you can read it.
We just want to roll up and see what's going on.
The thing is a friend, one guy to another, that's off. Right? You sent an email this morning, you didn't wait for a reply, and you show up.
Well, yeah, but because it's used to the churches I'm used to, are like welcome.
Being here, being cautious, and caring about my family and friends doesn't make us unhealthy. Because there's a different, there's the questioning, well, that's not right, I don't see why you believe it. Okay, but it is what we believe, and we're allowed to.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's just like,
as opposed
Presbyterian tongues and everything.
As opposed to, hey, I want to understand because what you're saying is intriguing to me. So there's two different dynamics,
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're on two different
But
pages.
I just gonna ask you this, like, I believe, I've been baptized, am I gonna see you in heaven?
Heaven is not mine to determine who does or does not get in. What we're kind of running after is we've got a pretty good outline of how to get in. And so we're just looking at pursuing that.
No, I'm Anthony Mose.
Anthony Alonzo.
It's nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Drew. Sorry to interrupt.
Turn around right
Yeah,
here.
we're gonna turn around.
What?
That shit was fucking crazy, bro.
You guys are men are so bad. You are so bad at this job. You know why? Because the men are trained to have audacity, and they literally thought they could just walk in. Like, girl, you know what I mean? Like, who trained you? I feel like you have to have a character. Hi, this is my husband Drew. We just got into town. We're looking for a new church for us. We want to grow a family, and we're just scouting the churches in the area to see which one is a good fit for our family. Oh, great. Where are you guys from? We just came from so-and-so place. You have to have a story. Where's the lore? Hello?
We managed to escape before things escalate, but it's clear that this place has eyes everywhere. The Remnant Fellowship Church is alive and well, and it's protecting itself tightly. I came here to try to understand how a Christian diet class turned into a full-blown cult, and after everything I've seen, it's worse than I imagined. The control, the fear, the loyalty, it's all still present, even without Gwen. I respect Michael and his bravery for speaking out, especially when his own family is still inside. If anything, this trip showed me how hard it is to escape a system that is designed to keep you quiet.
For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing.
Chad said, hi, this is my full government name, and I'm here to spy on you guys. Literally, they didn't even try. Oh, disappointing, honestly, because the video was so good up until then. And then I'm like, bro, please be serious. Like, literally, in real life streamers, like 15-year-old boys on Twitch are better at sneaking into places than you. They should have talked to either a boy, a girl, somebody.
Whether it is good or evil.
Damn. Oh, that is so interesting. Let's see what his comments say. The hair alone goes to show how unhinged she is. To wear an externally visible mic and think that a group with a security-oriented mindset would notice is insanely dumb. Literally, what the fuck? Okay. It's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's truly not smart at all, which has been evident in previous videos when he doesn't even know the basics. Oh, interesting. He's a big YouTube channel. I just discovered him today. 6 million subbies. But yeah, there's like, what, bro? Let's see, chat says, man, this Mike needs a little therapy for the major trauma he's endured so he can find love again for women, but good for him for speaking out. I hope this church gets exposed. That man needs a lot of help, especially from the stalker he has and other crazies that are trying to get him. But he distanced himself from his sister, who's now leading the church and trying to fight back. Let's see. He's clearly become an incel, and I feel like he could turn dangerous. He definitely needs help. Oh, yeah, he definitely feels like school shooter waiting to happen. Or in this case, church shooter. He was very handsome when he was fit. He might need to lose some weight and get a haircut. Damn, girl. Is this his mom? Who's that's not funny. Okay. False religion is the worst. Using God to twist and control and manipulate others is not what God is about. Interesting. As if God is real. It sucks that this experience essentially makes him paranoid about all women. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, well, there you go. Damn. I had a feeling this video would be interesting. But yeah, I'll share the video link, of course. I really hope that this guy does get therapy, as I think everyone deserves therapy, love, and care. And I do think that the dilemma is, how can he even start to deconstruct his misogyny if he's still part of patriarchy? How can you even start to think that women are equal, or at least like your gender shouldn't dictate your worthiness if you still believe in a patriarchal religion? That's you know. Yeah. Any thoughts? Any last minute thoughts? This is our last story for today. This is what we're closing stream with. Wow. That's crazy. I cannot believe they went into that place with microphones on. I kept thinking to myself, oh, I hope they're going to take those off. Like, what? That was so stupid. Like, I just cannot believe that that's how they decided to go into this. It would have been so much more interesting if they had just, I don't know, thought about it for 2.5 seconds. That's crazy. 6 million subscribers, bro. That's crazy. How do these channels get so big? I mean, it's a good video. Like, I did enjoy the video. I won't say that I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good video. I just would have loved more information. And look, like, I really think like that something bad is happening here if this video is, you know, accurate, right? It's just like, I cannot believe that, you know, he talked about guns and security and Scientology, and then they still went in with the most obvious, like, aesthetic. Like, how did this happen? Yeah, Chet says, do not tell this man who's been through abuse relating to weight loss to lose some weight. I know, what the heck? Let's see, I'm aghast, especially after he heard everything the man had been through. I know, bro. Maybe they self-sabotaged on purpose? Maybe, you think so? You think he sabotaged on purpose? I mean, did he think it would make a better story? I think a better story would be that we got in. Or that, you know, maybe he was afraid. Maybe it was a subconscious sabotage, like he actually was afraid of getting in. And so he kind of like didn't allow himself the opportunity to do it. Oh yeah, Chat said like they didn't want to go in. Yeah, maybe he did it on purpose. Yeah, that was almost too silly of them to do it not on purpose. Yeah, maybe he was really afraid. I mean, honestly, who is he? At the end of the day, what if they disappeared him? You know, especially if they're a Trump ally, you never know, man. That sounds scary. I wonder how much the church donates to the Trump campaign or Trump in general. And then think about all these people who are voting for Trump. Like if the church is Trump, then you know what I mean? The congregation's Trump. Yeah, maybe he was just scared. I mean, heck, I was kind of scared watching it and I wasn't even there. This stuff does scare me. Groups of people scare me. Groups of people together, I don't like it. But I'm devastated for all the victims in that cult. I'm devastated for everybody there. And look, at the end of the day, his sister's a victim, right? You can be both a victim and a participant, okay? And that's the problem is like how many people who are running these types of cults believe what they're saying, therefore they're brainwashed as well. And how many of them are still brainwashed but doing harm? And how many of them are not, quote, brainwashed but are in it for the money but are still... So you heard the implication, right? That the man his mother was married to was like, you know, she was driving him crazy. Maybe it was a suicide murder. And he said, I wouldn't be surprised the way she treated him because of the way she treated him. So again, implying that the man she married was also a victim. And she was just like, none of the women were ever victims. Notice how none of the women were ever victims. And I think it's interesting. Did he talk about former members contacting him? He didn't talk about a support group, right? He didn't talk about working with former victims. He didn't talk about being there for people. It was just like, he's the soul. You know what I'm saying? It's just, he's just not a very nice or loving person. He doesn't seem like a very compassionate person. He doesn't seem wholesome. He doesn't seem like a good person either. So do you know what I'm saying? Like he seems honestly kind of like a bad person to me. Sorry, but that doesn't make him less of a victim. Bad people can be victims too, just like the women in that cult. You can be a bad person and a victim. I don't know what to tell you guys, you know? That's kind of what the world is full of, right? That's the problem with people. That's why we have to do preventative work. We have to be better parents. We have to prepare to be better parents. We have to raise people better. We have to love people better by healing ourselves and going to therapy and doing philosophical work. Just devastated for everybody involved, really.